Okay, I want to make a quick video on this Dodge Ram 3500. This job we sealed up the front cover. I just wanted to kind of go over kind of how I did it, and give all the torque specs and the valve lash and stuff. First of all, I want to say fuck Dodge because they've bought the rights to the technical information on these pickup truck engines. With the engine serial number, you could not look it up on Cummins Quick Serve, which is being in the on-highway truck industry for so long. To me, that's just normal operating procedure where I look up a Cummins engine serial number in Quick Serve. Apparently, they bought the rights to these, so you have to buy the whole manual. And it's a long, drawn-out process to find what you need. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of give you a rundown on what torque specs you need and kind of what you need to do on this. Obviously, you take the grill and all that stuff off. I did not end up taking this tray off. You don't need to. You probably could. If you really wanted to, but you don't have to. And then I use, when I put I did not pull the front radiator support out. I just pulled the camshaft out far enough to where it hit the radiator support, pulled the housing off, and cleaned it up that way and put the new gasket on and stuff. So the housing and the cam never left the truck, and that worked perfectly fine. If not, you got to jack the engine up or take this whole radiator support out, and that's 2 or 3 more hours of work to try to get that out of there. So trying to save the customer a little bit of money. Whenever I do a front seal on these engines, I always put on a wear sleeve. The Cummins number, I can't remember what it is, but it's a very expensive seal, but I don't like doing rework. So this crank was scored up a little bit, so I went ahead and put one of those on. There's a tool from Ferrum Tools. There's the seal installer. And that'll work on 5.9s and 6.7s. And here is the wear sleeve installer. Buy the tools. Don't be a fucking cheapskate. Try to make a tool at home. Buy the tools and do it right. They're not that expensive. Even if you are only going to do it once, it's worth the money. So yeah, this stuff's kind of a clusterfuck to get off. I pulled the bumper off, the grill, the radiator, the transmission cooler I pulled completely off, the AC condenser I just flipped over to the side here. Of course, you got to pull the dampener off, pull the fan off, the belt, the tensioner you got to pull, and then the CP3 pump gear. I just undid the nut and left it on so you don't damage the threads, and just smacked it with a dead blow and the gear came off. So I don't know if you necessarily need the puller. This one came off pretty easy. It's a tapered shaft. And they don't need timed. They time them sometimes for gear noise, but those CP3s seem to be pretty noisy no matter what you do. So I set the valve lash. This truck has not been deleted, so I went ahead and set the valve lash at the spec, which on this engine, so first we'll do the torque spec. So pretty much 18 foot-pounds, is kind of what they're running on these. So the cam thrust plate bolts, which are the 2 bolts that hold the thrust plate, so hold the cam in the engine, are 18 foot-pounds. The gear housing bolts, so the bolts that hold the gear housing on the block, are 18 foot-pounds. There's like 5 of those. The bolts that hold the front cover on are 18 foot-pounds. The oil pan bolts, which you'll have to take 4 of those out. I think the book calls to take 6 out. Those are 21 foot-pounds, and the dampener goes to 30 foot-pounds and 60 degrees. Your rocker arm bolts are going to go to 27 foot-pounds. And here's your overhead set procedure. So typical inline 6 overhead set procedure. On these 6.7s, they have a TDC mark on the balancer. Now, if you have the front cover off, you just line up your timing marks on your cam and your crankshaft, and that'll give you TDC number 1. 1 and 6 are both, and number 6 should be on valve overlap when that happens, which means that the exhaust valve is just closing and the intake valve is just opening. That's a valve overlap. So when you're on TDC number 1, you can set intake on 1, 2, and 4, exhaust on 1, 3, and 5. TDC 6, intake 3, 5, and 6, exhaust 2, 4, 6. Now TDC 6 is obviously you need to rotate 360 degrees, and that'll give you so you can set the valves on TDC number 6. The cam dictates the timing, not the crankshaft. So, or the cam dictates TDC 1 or 6. So, as long as you have your timing marks lined up, and that's pretty straightforward and simple too. So, the book calls for it's like 12 hours, I think, is what they give them. It takes longer than 12 hours to do this job. I don't know who the fuck made that time rule, but it takes a lot longer than that. So the sticks that I use, or the dowels that I use, are 1/2-inch dowels, and I use hardwood oak. You don't have to. That's just what I chose to do. So the front ones I made at like 16 inches. The back 4, so cylinders 5 and 6. Number 4 cylinder, you got to do a little finagling too. So these are the ones I used on the back, and they're quite a bit shorter. So they're probably 3 or 4 inches shorter than the other ones. So that's just what I did, and I didn't go full retard on them. I kind of I just cut them and just beveled this edge, and then I bought a lifter and made sure that they would go down in it. The lifter's like $18. And then I just kind of smacked them down in there and picked them up and zip tied them and hope for the best, because if one of those falls down, you're pretty much fucked. So, but yeah, just wanted to give you a rundown on kind of what how I did this job. It's not terrible. It is labor intensive, and so anyway, that's that. If you got any questions, just ask.